Once upon a time, in a peaceful kingdom, there lived a kind-hearted water carrier named Ethan. His cheerful nature made him beloved by all. Every day, he carried water from the river to the villagers' homes, always greeted with a warm smile and a kind word. His simple life was filled with contentment, and his happiness spread to everyone around him. One day, word of Ethan's generosity and dedication reached the king. Curious, the king sent his minister to summon Ethan to the palace. When Ethan arrived, the king said, "I've heard of your good nature. From now on, you will serve in my palace, bringing water for me and my guests." Overjoyed, Ethan rushed home to share the news with his wife. He dressed in his finest clothes and returned to the palace, eager to begin his new role. As time passed, Ethan's charm and storytelling made him a favorite among the king's guests. The king, too, enjoyed his presence, often calling him to share a tale or lighten his mood. But not everyone appreciated Ethan's rise. The king's trusted minister, consumed by jealousy, couldn't bear to see a mere water carrier earning the king's favor. The minister devised a wicked plan to rid the palace of Ethan. One evening, he visited Ethan and whispered, "The king has been complaining about the bad smell of your breath. He finds it unbearable, but doesn't want to embarrass you." Ethan, surprised and embarrassed, asked, "What should I do?" The minister, pretending to be concerned, suggested, "Wear a mask whenever you are in the king's presence. It will avoid any discomfort." Trusting the minister, Ethan agreed, and the next day he wore a mask to the palace. The king was puzzled but said nothing. Days went by, and Ethan continued wearing the mask without question. Eventually, the king grew curious and asked the minister, "Why does Ethan always wear that mask?" Seizing the opportunity, the minister replied, "My lord, Ethan told me he wears it because he finds your breath unpleasant." The king, hurt and angry, ordered the executioner to stand by the gates. "Anyone who leaves with a bouquet of roses will lose their life," the king declared. The next day, Ethan arrived as usual, serving the king's guests with grace. Pleased with his service, the king handed him a bouquet of roses as a reward. Ethan accepted it with a smile, unaware of the danger ahead. As he walked out, the minister, curious about the roses, stopped him. "Who gave you these?" the minister demanded. "The king," Ethan replied. "He wanted to reward me for my service." Envious, the minister grabbed the bouquet and sneered, "I deserve this more than you." He stormed toward the palace gates. When the executioner saw the minister with the roses, he followed the king's orders without question. The next morning, Ethan returned to the palace as usual. To his surprise, the king was overjoyed to see him. "Ethan, you're alive. Tell me, why do you always wear that mask around me?" Unaware of the minister's deception, Ethan humbly explained, "The minister told me that you found my breath unpleasant, so I wore this mask to avoid troubling you." The king's eyes widened in realization. "And what happened to the bouquet of roses I gave you?" he asked. "The minister took them," Ethan replied innocently, saying he deserved them more than I did. The king burst into laughter. "Indeed, he deserved those roses more than you did." With a smile, the king removed Ethan's mask. "From now on, you will be more than just a water carrier. You shall be my royal storyteller." With that, Ethan's honesty and kindness prevailed. The minister's envy and deceit had led to his own downfall. Ethan's simple nature, full of patience and truth, had triumphed over the minister's jealousy. The king's words rang clear: good deeds and sincerity never go unnoticed. In the end, those with pure hearts are always rewarded. Moral of the story: This tale reminds us that envy only leads to destruction. Honest hearts and good intentions always find their reward, while deceit and jealousy backfire. Ethan's journey teaches that no matter the difficulty, staying true to who you are will always lead you to the right path.